Let's look at Daniel 7:1 and Daniel 8:1. And of course, now we've gone through Daniel chapters 1 through 6, and those are really the great stories of Daniel chapters. Okay, you go through the Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego's. You go through Daniel in the lion's den. You go through Nebuchadnezzar being, losing his kingdom and living like an animal, and then going back and regaining his kingdom. So they're excellent stories. But now we get into Daniel chapter 7, and Daniel 7 through 12 is really about prophecy. The stories are done now. Now we get into the prophecies that God gave to Daniel. And before I get into Daniel 7 and 8, part 1, which is what I'm titling this, I want you to understand, because this is important, there are 168 hours. Oh, and this thing is dead. Whoop. Babe, can I have the marker in the bag, please? Thank you. Oh, that's terrible. Thank you. All right, so there are 168 hours in the week. All right. Oh, my goodness. Okay, this is not working. All right. I hope not. All right, so, hey, today you're working on your own. Oh, no, what's going to happen? All right, Daniel, I'm sorry, 168 hours in the week. All right. It's critically important that you're reading your Bible every day so that God will open up to you what is going to be happening. All right. It's one thing to read through the stories and understand that God used Daniel and his friends in a great way. That's great. When you get into prophecy, you can get really confused really fast. You've got to make sure you're spending time in the Word of God. The reason I'm telling you how many hours are in a week, there's 168 hours in a week. Today we're going to read some Bible, and you're going to hear some Bible in Sunday morning service. If those are the only two times you're getting Bible, that's 2 hours out of 168 hours in the week, which comes to 1.19% of your week is spent in Bible. 1%. Now, of course, the Bible also says we are to desire the Word more than our necessary food, right? Okay, so now if you're only eating 2 hours out of the 168, how is your body doing? Not so good. All right. Hey, we got one. All right, thank you. All right, it's not great, but it'll work. Okay? Yeah. And so what I want you to see is here, and I'm just taking a biscuit here. All right, so if this is your meal, all right, this is your meal, right, for the whole week. These are all of your meals. You're going to take 1%. Okay, that is what you're eating all week. Spiritually. Okay? So what I challenge you, that'll be fun to clean up. All right, 168. Now let's say, and you say, well, Mark, well, how do I do better? Okay, let's say 1 hour of Bible a day with prayer. All right, that'll give you 7. All right, and then let's say you come to Sunday school, Sunday morning, Sunday night, Wednesday night. You go out soul winning. That's another 5-6 hours. All right. Let's say you pray over your job when you go to a job. All right, so you're praying before you go to work. You pray while you're at work. You pray after work, or you're just praying if you're retired. That would be wonderful. But if you're retired, you're praying throughout the day. Let's say that's 40 hours a week. All right. Let's say you pray before you go to bed. You pray when you wake up, that God gives you great thoughts and you only meditate on the things that God gives you. Let's say that's an average of 6 hours per day times 7 days. That's 42 hours a week. The math might not add up now. It might be a little bit off, but let's say it's 94 hours total now out of the 168. You're looking at around 56%. Okay, now you might say, well, Mark, that's not 100%. It's better than 1%, right? So let's not worry about getting to 100. Let's worry about getting more than one. Okay? If we can get more than one, we're off to a great start. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that's exactly right. Yeah. That's a tithe of time. 16.8 says 17 hours. And that's what I'm saying. So I say all that to say, when we go into this book and we are going to be flipping chapters, I need you to hold your book open to Daniel chapter 2. We're going to do Daniel chapter 7. We're going to do Daniel chapter 8. They all come into play right here for this overview. All right? Excuse me 1 second as I throw that away. I don't want anyone to touch that. My hands were all over it. Okay. So, Daniel 7:8, part 1. Part 1. Make sure you're in your Bible. God will give you more wisdom as you ask him. The title for the message for today, Definitions, History, and Prophecy. Oh my! Oh my! That's what we're going to call it. Definitions, History, and Prophecy. Oh my! All right? We're going to hit all three of them. All right? We already read through Daniel 7:1 and Daniel 8:1, and I want you to see these visions were given to Daniel. Chapter 7 and 8 happened before chapters 5 and 6. And you say, that's confusing. Why can't God just put the books in order of time? God does it the way he wants to do it. All right? So if you ever thought, oh, okay, well, this is exactly how things happened in the Bible. No, the timelines are all messed up. All right? Yeah.
Revelation's the same way.
Yeah. In Revelation, the exact same way. If you look at 5:1, look at Daniel 5:1. It says, Belshazzar the king made a great feast to 1,000 of his lords and drank wine before the 1,000. That was, of course, the writing on the wall. That's Daniel 5. That's the Belshazzar we're talking about here. If you look in Daniel 7:1, in the first year of Belshazzar, Belshazzar was king for about 10 years, roughly 8 to 10 years. All right? So this is his first year. Chapter 5 was his last night as king. All right, now look at chapter 8, in the third year of the reign of King Belshazzar. So now we're in the third year. So I want you to understand, when you're reading these prophecy things, these are not in perfect order for us to totally understand, and it's so easy, and oh, this is how it all falls. No. Hi. All right. So Daniel 7:8 actually happened before 5 and 6. Man, it's amazing. The vision in Daniel 7 and 8 is also closely tied. Matter of fact, it's almost a mirror image of the vision of the king in Daniel chapter 2, which happened before Belshazzar. Yes, yeah. So Daniel 7 and Daniel 8 are very closely tied to Daniel 2. Okay? And we're going to tie them all together because we're going to get the definitions, history, and prophecy. Oh my. All right, let's go to definitions. Look at Daniel 7. Daniel 7:28. I'm going to skip around with some of these verses. You can read the rest of them a little later. Daniel 7:28 says, Hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cogitations much troubled me, and my countenance changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart. What I want you to see here in number 4, for definitions, let's define cogitation. I'm like, what is a cogitation? What that means is the act of thinking or contemplation. Cogitation. It's the act of thinking or you're just contemplating on things. So you're just thinking on things. And then that's letter A. Letter B is countenance. All right? Countenance is the look or the appearance on the face. Again, he says, hitherto is the end of the matter. As for me, Daniel, my cogitations, my contemplation much troubled me. And my countenance, the way he looked, changed in me, but I kept the matter in my heart. Look at Daniel 8:27. It says, and I, Daniel, now he has another dream in Daniel chapter 8, which we're going to get to. 8:27 says, and I, Daniel, fainted and was sick certain days. Afterward, I rose up and did the king's business, and I was astonished at the vision, but none understood it. What I want you to see is here in letter C, these thoughts are troubling. The thoughts that Daniel had were so troubling that it changed his countenance. It changed what he thought about. He passed out here in Daniel 8, and it's all tied together. Do you allow God's reality to trouble you for the lost? Because really, that's what this message is going to be about. God is coming, and we should be troubled for those who are not saved. This message came from God to Daniel, and it was so troubling he passed out and was sick many days. Meaning he said, man, this thing is overwhelming. And we're going to see he spoke to angels which told him what the dreams were. So it's not like it was a mystery. He just didn't understand them. So now in number 5, we're going to take a little bit of a reprieve here, and I want to give it a life example for us. I'm going to do a house example, all right? A house example, because it's going to compare well to what we're going to be going through. All right, letter A. Let's say you built a house, and you built the grandest house in all the land. It had the best fortification. It had the top-notch security. It had top-notch electronics. Now this is 16 says 71, so you got to understand what top notch is. All right, but you built a house in 1671, okay, and it was the greatest in the land. And as a gift, God gave me a prophecy, and I come to you and I say, hey, here's a prophecy for your house. This is what's going to happen to your house. All right, here's the prophecy. Letter B. It will be destroyed by hail in 1727. And you say, well, that prophecy's terrible. Letter C, it's going to be destroyed by fire in 1815. Letter D, it's going to be destroyed by a tornado in 2018. And somewhere in the future, date unknown, it will be destroyed by an earthquake. Now, it's going to be rebuilt every time, okay? But if these other things came to pass, so let's say you get this prophecy, I give it to you, you pass it down to your kids, because now this is obviously 350 years later. So you keep passing it down to your kids, and the house is destroyed by hail, and the house is destroyed by fire, and the house is destroyed by a tornado. Do you think you're going to be, if those other things came to pass, would you finally believe me and take action by the time it got to the earthquake? Would you finally believe me and take action and buy some earthquake insurance? Or, or are you going to say, that's all a coincidence? It's an amazing coincidence. This is going to make a lot more sense next week, but it also pairs down into this week's lesson. And I'll explain, because if you don't believe this, the last one really won't matter to you anyway. It won't matter. Okay, now we got to define the creatures. We got to define the creatures. All right, we got to get into the creatures. Oh, wait a minute. Define the creatures. All right. Look at Daniel 7:17. If you read through the book of Daniel, you're going to see a lot of different creatures that come to Daniel in a dream. It says here, Daniel 7:17, these great beasts, and we'll read through them, which are four kings which shall arise out of the earth. The angel tells Daniel, these are 4 kings, these are 4 kingdoms. The angel told Daniel that 4 beasts represented 4 kingdoms. 4 kingdoms. That's not under interpretation. That's what the angel told Daniel. The same as in the king's dream, in chapter 2. Look at chapter 2, verse 38 and 39. Look at what Daniel told the king. It says, "But there is a God in heaven that revealeth secrets and maketh known to the king Nebuchadnezzar what shall be in the latter day. Thy dream and thy visions upon thy head, upon thy bed are these. As for thee, O king, thy thoughts came into thy mind upon thy bed, what should come to pass hereafter. And he that revealeth secrets maketh known to thee what shall come to pass." Where's it? Oh, that's 28 and 29. "And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven, hath he given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold." That was Nebuchadnezzar. "And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, another third kingdom of brass, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And the fourth kingdom shall be strong as iron." So it's literally the same thing. Daniel 7, Daniel 8, Daniel 2, they all mesh together. Okay? Now, look at Daniel 7, verse 4. Here we see the first of these kingdoms. So what is the first of the kingdoms? "The first was like a lion and had eagle's wings. I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked, and it was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man, and as a man's heart was given to it." Number 6b, verse 4, "Lion with wings of an eagle and the head of gold." Look at Daniel 2, 37, 38. Daniel 2, 37, 38. It says, thou, O king, art a king of kings, for the God of heaven hath given thee a kingdom and power and strength and glory. And wheresoever the children of men dwell, the beasts of the field and the fowls of the heaven hath he given into thine hand, and hath made thee ruler over them all. Thou art this head of gold." So you see how they combine together, right? Okay. This one here is Babylon. All right. This is Babylon. And you might say, well, why is Babylon referred to as a lion and had eagle's wings? "I beheld till the wings thereof were plucked. It was lifted up from the earth and made stand upon the feet as a man. As a man's heart was given to it." Sounds a lot like the animal was turned into a man, kind of what happened in Nebuchadnezzar in chapter 4 when he tells us his story. But also, if you read through, I'm not going to have time, but read through Jeremiah 4:7, Jeremiah 49:19, Ezekiel 17:33 and 12, you're going to see Babylon was often compared to a lion and an eagle. Okay? That's only the first part. We're not even into the real stuff yet. Verse 5, "And behold, another beast, a second, like to a bear, and it raised up itself on one side, and it had 3 ribs in the mouth of it between the teeth of it. And they said thus unto it, Arise, devour much flesh." Look over at Daniel 2, verse 32, and you're going to see this is the same thing. I just got to put a marker here. 2, verse 32. It says, come on, Mark. All right. "This image head was of fine gold, his breast and his arms of silver, and his belly and his thighs of brass." And I want you to see, that's where we're going to stop. And now look at Daniel chapter 8, 3 and 20. It says, "Then I lifted up mine eyes and saw, and behold, there stood before the river a ram." This is a different animal, "which had 2 horns, and the 2 horns were high, but one was higher than the other, and the higher came up last. I saw the ram pushing," I want to make sure I get this right, 3 and 20. "The ram which thou sawest having 2 horns are the kings of" what? Media and Persia. So these are the Medes and the Persians. And the one that pushed up, the Persians, were more powerful than the Medes. That's why one horn was higher than the other. Okay? So you see the bear with 3 ribs in its mouth, Daniel 7. You see the arms and chest of silver, Daniel 2. And the ram with two horns, Daniel 8. All the Medes and Persians. Do you see why I'm trying to lay all this out now? Trying to get through this chapter in a normal way? It ain't going to happen, folks. All right. The higher horn would be the Persians. I'm also going to call this the hail prediction. Okay, do you remember the hail prediction? Okay, keep that in mind because we're getting better. Okay, now look at the leopard. Look at verse 6. Daniel 7, verse 6. It says, after this I beheld, and lo, another like a leopard, which had upon the back of it 4 wings of a fowl. The beast also had 4 heads, and dominion was given to it. So now look over at Daniel 2:32, and just look at verse 39. I already read verse 32. And after thee shall arise another kingdom inferior to thee, and another third kingdom of brass. This would be the brass hips, which shall bear rule over all the earth. And look at Daniel 8 and 21. It says, therefore the he-goat waxed very great, and when he was strong, the great horn was broken, and it came up 4 notable ones toward the 4 winds of heaven. Verse 21, and the rough goat is the king of Grecia, and the great horn is that between his eyes, is the first king. What I want you to see here, letter D, this is Greece. And you say, Mark, what does this all matter? We're going through definitions, history, and prophecy. Oh my, give me a second. All right, I know this isn't the most fascinating. Did anyone love history class? Okay, good. I have like 4 of you. All right, good, awesome. Well, then you all are like, whoo, this is interesting. All right, Greece. All right, Alexander the Great, of course, was the king here. And of course, it was the basically what happened is the kingdom got divided into 4 other kingdoms once he got dethroned. So now we see the Medes, Persians, Greece. Now I'm going to call this fire. Okay, that's that prediction. Now look at verse 7. After this I saw in the night visions, and behold, a 4th beast, dreadful and terrible and strong exceedingly, and it had great iron teeth. It devoured and brake in pieces and stamped the residue with the feet of it, and it was diverse from all the beasts that were before it, and it had 10 horns. Look over at 2 verse 33. It says, his legs of iron, his feet part of iron and part of clay. And look at verses 40 and 42 in Daniel 2.
That's where you get into prophecy part.
Yeah. But I want you to see it. 40 through 42. And the 4th kingdom shall be strong as iron, for as much as iron breaketh in pieces and subdueth all things, and as iron that breaketh all these shall it break in pieces and bruise. And whereas thou sawest the feet and toes, the part of potter's clay and part of iron, the kingdom shall be divided, but there shall be in it of the strength of the iron, for as much as thou sawest the iron mixed with miry clay, and as the toes of the feet were part of iron and part of clay, so the kingdom shall be partly strong and partly broken. And you say, wow, that's a lot. Here, this is Rome. This is, of course, Rome takes over, and this I call the tornado. All right? You say, Mark, why do you keep referring to your house with all these things? We're going to get there. Look at number 7. I want you to see the history. I want you to know the history. 539 BC. Now, all these dates are rough. Obviously, I wasn't there, so I don't know the exact dates. But these are from what I can gather. 539 BC, the Medo-Persian Empire, led by Cyrus, defeated the Babylonian Empire, the end of the Golden Head reign in Daniel 2, and start of the silver arms and chest reign in Daniel 2. So the hail did come to pass. All right, the Medes and Persians did overthrow Babylon. That's history. Letter B, in roughly 449 BC, Greece came in and defeated the Medo-Persian Empire. That's the bronze thigh that beat the silver chest and arms. So the fire really did happen. Greece really did beat the Medes and Persians. All right. And letter C, roughly 214 to 168 BC, because this was like a long battle, like this was like a forever battle. Rome finally defeated Greece, and the toes ended up beating the thigh. All right? So the tornado really did come to be. That was in roughly 214 to 168 BC. Okay? Yes.
Chapter 2, verse 43,
Mm-hmm.
it says that those 10 toes intermingled with the seed of men.
Yeah.
So those 10 toes are not actually of man. That's why it shall be in the days of Noah,
Yeah.
because the demons intermingled with the seed of men.
And that's a whole other, we can't.
Those 10 toes are.
Yes.
They're actually not human.
But we're going to stay right here. Wait here. All right? There's the Medes and Persians. We got Greece. We got Rome. What does all this matter? We go through all the definitions, all the prophecy, all the history. What does it matter? Here's the prophecy, number 8. All right? All came to pass exactly as Daniel saw it. Daniel 2, Daniel 7, Daniel 8, across decades now. Because remember, these dreams, 7 and 8, came in the first year of Belshazzar and the third year of Belshazzar. Daniel 2 interpreted the dream in the middle of Nebuchadnezzar's reign. So we're talking decades now. Decades. So in number 9, it all came to pass as it was predicted. Kind of like my house example. So now the hail came, the fire came, the tornado came. What's the matter of the earthquake? What at this point, what does it matter? We're talking hundreds of years now. Now that we know the descriptions and the meanings of each of the parts of the idol and the beast, all right? Does anyone have any questions about the parts of the idol and the beast? Because it's going to be really important as we get into chapter 7. Good? Okay. They're back to yes, okay. Yes, I totally get it, Mark. So each of the parts of the idol and the beast of chapter 7 and 8. Next week, what we're going to cover, what history teaches us about the future. What does history teach us about the future? All right. What's the rest of the prophecy about in Daniel chapter 7? Well, you're going to find out next week. All right. But in number 10, I can't leave you without an application. You have to walk away and have an application to all this explanation, because all this is just words on a page, and you're just trying to identify what is what. And even though that's awesome that you can do that, it doesn't help you if you don't apply it. All right. So in number 10, I didn't even put it as a blank. If you trust the book, this book, the book that Daniel gave his prophecy for, all right? God gave it to Daniel. He wrote it in the book. The same book that Christ was born of a virgin, the same book that Christ rose again, the same book that tells us the way to salvation, the same book that tells us how to live our lives. If you're going to trust the book, then you must have a heart for the lost.
Right.
Because Christ is coming again, and we're going to see that next week in Daniel 7, that if he can predict these kingdoms falling, you have to believe Christ is coming back again. You have to. And if you have to believe that, if you have to believe that all these things came true and your house fell all these times, this earthquake is the last prediction, the last prophecy. Do you know what happens here? Christians leave the earth. Everybody else, not so lucky. So if you're here, you got to have a heart for the lost. You can turn that off, and then I'll get you there.